This is Three Married Ladies Opinions podcast, and this is our third episode. Yay! This your girl, Nika Knight,
Mrs. Seflie,
and each one teach one.
And we're going to talk about marriages in this pandemic. That's our topic today, is how are marriages holding up in this pandemic? Is the divorce rate going down? Is it going up? We just want to give our opinion on it, what we think is going on. So I'm going to start out first with the article from WebMD, and they are saying that the divorce rate is rising as couples struggle with this emotional and economic fallout for the past 11 months. COVID has really damaged some relationships because why? They're in the house all day together. Like before, you could miss somebody and not really know every single little annoying habit that they have. But now you see everything. Now for me, this is kind of different. If I'm going to speak from experience, which I am right now, is that my husband and I already work and live together before this pandemic. So we've done it for our son. We ended up living and working in a home and taking care of individuals, right? So he wouldn't have to be exposed to germs outside of the home. So because we've been doing this for so long, I actually, 2 years before this pandemic, I had actually said, you know what? It was getting too much being together for so long and all the time, every day. I would say 2 years before the pandemic, I decided I'm getting a job during the day outside this home. I need a break from these kids. I need a break from him. And I took a job working outside of the home. And it was good in the beginning because I was so used to always being home. So I loved it. I had my me time on the road, 45-minute drive, listening to all different types of YouTube shows, podcasts like this one. And it just gave me some quiet time with my mind to think about what I want to do, you know, with my life and with everybody, everything else. So the pandemic kind of took me back to where I was before. So before the pandemic, I really wanted to not be driving 45 minutes every day across a bridge. I was really tired of it. I'd done it for 2 years. So when the pandemic hit, I was happy. When the pandemic hit saying that you had to stay home, I wasn't happy for people dying. Sorry, y'all. Not saying that. But I was happy in the sense of I get to stay home again, because for 2 years driving, some of it was good, but then that gas money, that wear and tear on the car, all of that was outweighing me having some little peace of mind. So I tried to find peace of mind inside the house. So a little tidbit or advice that I could say about trying to hold up a marriage and not get divorced like some of us are during this pandemic is to find your own space, a hobby, or taking up this podcasting thing that we're doing right now, going to school, just trying to do something that's for you, so you're not just worrying about or being annoyed by one person all day. So, but what do you think, Mrs. Seflie? What you think you need to do?
I think another good thing to do at this time, if you feeling overwhelmed, because like you said, the schedule have changed from people being out of the home, you know, going to work or going to school, and now being inside the house 24/7 with recreational activities and programs being shut down.
Yeah.
And the only people you really have is yourself and the person you looking at 24/7. So one thing that my husband and I started doing was taking long walks by the lake. Because they were saying like, oh, you could go to a park, anywhere where there's nature and open air. So before, let me tell you this, before I used to get mad because I used to always run by the lake. And I would invite him, and he'd be like, "No, I don't want to go, no." And it was like, during the pandemic, it was like a blessing almost, because now it's like, okay, well, you can't do what you normally would do. The only activity you can do is walk by the lake. So it became a time where we were walking by the lake like 3 times a day, and he started to enjoy it. So that was like one benefit, just, finding a location where you and your spouse can share that intimate moment and time. Right. And other people in the household is not there listening or having any input. But it's just y'all. Like, it's almost, to me, the pandemic was a time to do a lot of rediscovery. Like, not only with yourself, but also with your spouse. Like, rediscovering what they like and stuff. Yeah, but that was one of the things. And then we started watching Netflix, a lot of Netflix and Amazon. So instead of just doing movies, we were finding series, stuff that just on all day that we could just watch, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah, so this is bringing y'all closer together instead of divorce. People going towards divorce. Exactly. This is something to bring you together.
It's like finding ways to be close together, or finding out, I think with this pandemic, what it done as well is uprooted some things that couples been ignoring. Like, you didn't have to deal with it, you didn't have to face it, but now that you're sitting in the home, it's time and space for you to deal with it. So you should be able to love each other enough to provide that space to say, hey, let's deal with this. Let's call it what it is. Let's be honest and open. You can't avoid it anymore. You can't ignore it anymore, because it's sitting right there.
Yeah.
So maybe just some things was just too hurtful and too painful for some to,
to withstand, to stay together.
Yeah. Or maybe some things was like, what? This relationship was really over 5 years ago, when we just been doing this because both of us been scared, when we just need to take that step and leave it alone. I don't know, but yeah, I think definitely the pandemic had provided space for communication, because it was like, okay, we need to deal with this. It gave us a time to regroup, to do a lot of money management. Because like, oh, well, the stores are closed. The only people we have really is Amazon. Number one neighbor.
Mrs. Seflie, you mentioned one of the things in this WebMD article as well, saying that the impact of being together 24/7 as a result of stay-at-home orders, clients have more time to think about their situation. And craziness. Exactly. And the craziness of this pandemic is leading people to more, sometimes getting a little bit, I can't say insane, but like just all of a sudden stuff just came to light and they just can't believe it. So now they just so emotional and an uproar about it. Like, I can't believe this is it. This is what you do in a pandemic. You start to see who really has your back, who really cares. And if the person that you with all of a sudden don't even want to be with you, or don't even want to be doing anything with you to self-discover or to learn more things, you like, dang, am I supposed to be married to this person? And maybe some people are discovering that, and that's why they're getting divorced in this pandemic. But teach you.
But I want to know how they getting divorced and the court's closed. Like, where you going with the file divorce papers?
They must be going online.
They must be going online, like filing the papers online, and then the lawyers is probably going on Zoom and talking to them, stuff like that, or whatever that thing they use. That's probably what's going on. But Teach, you have an opinion? Like, what do y'all do to try to get through this pandemic in your marriage?
Oh my gosh! So we've been at this since March, since they closed school. So I've been virtual since then. So in the beginning, it was really tough because We had no idea how long I was going to be home, teaching. So we didn't really have like a space set out for me working. So that was a problem because he would hear me having class and he would be right in the room next to me on the phone doing business, and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. So that was a point of frustration, I think, on both our parts. Then what he did was he redid one of our bedrooms upstairs into an office for me. So I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Oh my gosh, he did such a good job too. I was like, oh my gosh, he put all this stuff together. My husband was working hard. Now, he was being sweet, but the other part was he didn't want to hear me doing my classes.
But it worked out both ways. You got what you needed. He got what he needed.
Nope, and he got rewarded because she's like, look at my wife. She's like, yeah, he the man, and she just don't know I'm really doing this too. But that has helped a lot because what I do is, because I have a designated space where I work, I'm able to close the door on work. Before, work was always just like out in that room. So it was like, oh, I forgot, I need to send this email. Oh, I forgot, I need to grade this. Or, oh, I forgot, I need to write this down. And so now, because I have this designated space, I can close the door on work and say, you know what? No, not working. Whatever it didn't get done, it's not getting done right now. And we're going to make time. You know what I mean? Plus, the space separates us by level. So his space level is in the basement and mine is on, the top floor in a bedroom. So we're not seeing each other, looking across at each other working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that has helped also. But very similar to what you and Seflie do with your husband. Like we used Netflix. Like I had gotten Netflix a while ago, barely used it. So now we use it all the time. You know what I mean? And we do watch series and documentaries, and like we just have common interests. So a lot of times we just have like stimulating debates about that stuff too. So it's not all just like work, and it's not all just like romantic. It's like we still stimulate each other's minds to have opinions and things, So we've used that, and we've used like carving out time, but like time, space, and just still going out and getting some like fresh air, when we can. Like you said, going around the lake. He does like that, and when we go to the lake, he got his headphones in, I got mine in, and we're just like walking it out, but we together, So I think that the pandemic has, like you said, forced couples to become a little bit more creative in, the things that they're able to do together, and to respect space a lot more, because now you really do recognize that you need space, that you need your own time to kind of wind down. Like I know for work, I have to wind down before I really go in and talk to my husband, because I don't want to bombard him with, all the things that's going on in my day, at work. He already dealing with, his job and all the problems. I was like, nah, when we get together, when we come into this room, it's, us, not work, not anything else. Let's sit down, watch this show. Let's enjoy this. Let's watch this news program. Yeah. And that has been extremely helpful. But we do miss our families. I mean, it has been tough not seeing family, But other than that, I think we've been navigating the pandemic pretty well. In my opinion, we've been doing pretty good.
That's good. I mean, some people, let's see, because, a disproportionate of black people are mostly below poverty or just hitting the poverty line. And then all of a sudden they don't have a job. And then they faced with being in each other's face with no job, no money. What we gonna do? So arguments come. So, that's like another thing that pandemic has brought on marriages, as far as like finance, exposing that, they really didn't save enough for a situation like this, and now they're arguing about it and they blaming each other about it, and instead of trying to work together, sometimes that happens. But what you what you experienced as far as you need a space and he just created the space for you, that's an example of couples working together through this pandemic. That's what we need to do more. We need to work together. You know, we need to...
The thing too, because, working together, like you're saying.
Yeah, you definitely do. And I mean, some people did have that like 9-month emergency fund that's about to run out. So some people did save, and they're like, man, we about to lose the last of our savings. We about to use the last of that. Like, how are we going to move forward from here, you know? So that can cause some anxiety as well. Then you have the children at home doing virtual learning. So you have the mom, the dad, the children all home, and maybe the children not getting online like they should, and you know, then you have each of the parents blaming each other. Well, if you ain't check on them, you ain't go see each other.
Oh my goodness!
It's a whole lot of different dynamics.
Was you in my house, T? Because that's the exact words that my husband used when when my son didn't complete assignment. Well, was you checking on him? Did you check on him, see if he was on? Did you check if he paid attention? Like, I got other stuff to do too. I can't just keep sitting here beside him, making sure that he's doing and paying attention and doing his work.
Yeah,
like
an extra concern. You know, that's a real concern. So I mean, just even entertaining the children, like they have been on the computer for school, when you want them still on the like, what we gonna do with the children? So
let them be on their tablets. Like, they was just on a computer for 6 hours. Why are we putting them on their tablets? Like, yeah, I understand perfectly.
Yeah, but that's the entertainment part. They tablets, so they used to that. What they not used to is the school online.
Yeah.
So, you know, changing when they transition from school to the tablets is nothing, because they going back to what they used to. And I think too, maybe with some couples, maybe, you know, instead of, along with the frustration and everything that y'all was talking about, is to begin to realize and accept that things are not going back, period. Like, even after the coronavirus ends, things are not going to go back. So it's all about restarting and regrouping and planning different.
Yeah, restructure. We definitely have to restructure everything, because some of the jobs we lost, they're not coming back. If companies have found a cheaper way to do get their goods and services out, they're not going to have those jobs come back, unfortunately. You notice how many automated cash registers you have now? That's jobs. You notice you go through the tunnel to pay your toll. You don't have to pay a toll worker anymore.
Nope.
You just ride on through and they send you the bill in the mail.
Yeah.
Those were jobs. And so if you are out for the pandemic and you're like, oh good, when the pandemic over, I'll get my job back. You have to look for something else that may not be available to them. And the family's going to have to find a way to continue to encourage that person, you know, as they're looking for employment, you know, when this is over. Because
it's almost like, instead of encouraging that person to go back to work, they can go back to work, is now encouraging that person to use their talent.
Yeah.
Cheering that person on to use their gift.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was like
some people. It's like, to some people, it's, you know, the frustration comes in because they're thinking they're waiting and they're thinking that things going to go back and they're going to go back and everything's going to be fine. And it's like, no, you missing the opportunity to structure your family. You're missing the opportunity to rediscover yourself and your spouse. You're missing the opportunity to create space to do these things. To bring love back in, to bring commitment back in, to bring communication back in, and also forgiveness. That's a big thing. Anytime you facing something that you've been ignoring, it's because you haven't forgiven it. So forgiveness, that is space for it, because with forgiveness brings healing. There's space for it, but it's all up to that person to decide to use it. And maybe some persons, just because the divorce rate is high does not mean it was a failed marriage. Maybe we outgrew each other. I don't know, but that doesn't say, I'm saying like it's not a negative. We shouldn't look at it like a negative thing. It could have been a rescue.
Yeah.
Maybe that person was dying in the marriage. Who knows?
Mm-hmm. It's like a reset.
Always a negative thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a reset button. This is like that's what this pandemic was for everything, as well as marriages. When you talk about marriages, it was like, okay, what are we going to do if we really can't go to the store and get any food? We need to come up with some type of situation to where we're gonna always have something to eat. We need to start doing emergency things. We need to start having emergency gear. We need to start, maybe you need to register for a gun. Maybe we need to get emergency backup food. Maybe you need to, we started talking about a lot of things before now, I think because I am a worrywart, like all of these things before the pandemic, I've been said. The things I'm saying right now, people probably just started saying that at the pandemic, but I had said that to my husband years ago, because you see how the world's going sometimes, and then Trump was president, so it's kind of like we need to prepare. We need to prepare for the worst of whatever happens. And I did a little bit myself, but you can't do it all yourself. You need that partner. So this pandemic showed him that everything that I was talking about, he should have been doing.
Now just think about this, y'all. Everything that you just said, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could have been an agitator and was like, oh, so now you want to do it? Okay, you go ahead and do it.
Yeah, that's true.
I've been saying this, so now you want to do it? And maybe that could be the reason why a lot of divorce rates up now. Like, well, I did it for me. Goodbye. I'm supposed to do it now.
I know, right? But I think because I have been on a journey of discovering me, that I have changed a little bit. I probably would have did that a couple years ago, even a year ago. I probably would have been petty and been like, well, I already told you this, so now it's too late. No. But I probably would have did that. But now that I am discovering, this is your partner, this is who you said you wanted to marry and be with for the rest of your life, so you're going to have to figure out how to coexist and talk and communicate. And that's always been a big problem with us, because we both, if we get triggered, we don't want to say nothing no more. Or because we might argue. It's either one or the other. We both, I don't know if y'all, we both Scorpios, so it's either we hard and we clashing and we yelling, or we not talking at all. So it's kind of like, it's like no in between. I've been trying to get us in a between. So I think sometimes as women, we need to see why I can't say that women is the whole blame for your household being a wreck, but sometimes women are more in the sense of seeing the future about what could happen in the long term and plan for it, and that man should kind of listen a little bit. You know what I'm saying? If you take control of that, then if man listens a little bit, then y'all can have a better future.
Mm-hmm. See, I had to learn that too. It was like, okay, in my mind, instead of letting Petty Betty come out and be like, didn't I say that? My spirit was like, okay, shut up and accept that he's ready to do it now. Just do it. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But someone wants to chime in. My husband would like to chime in if y'all want to give him 30 seconds.
Go ahead, Mr. Seflie.
Go ahead, John. Mr. Seflie.
You're on record. So you're Mr. Seflie. Go ahead.
Look, everybody deserves a chance to do things. And y'all sitting here just going off. But if you're not interested in that person, it's no use in being with that person. I don't care what y'all go through. You have to always be with that person. If you're interested in them, you're gonna be with that person. Everybody got. I can't iterate this no more. And everybody got failures. When you with somebody and then you find your way with that person, I mean, like y'all just said, everybody gonna go through difficulties. Everybody gonna do. Somebody might do something different. Somebody else might do something different. I mean, in the relationship, husband and wife, everybody has a fault, and that's what I don't hear y'all saying. Everybody has a fault, and that fault, it don't ruin the relationship. What it does is it kind of make it build.
You saying everyone has flaws. Everyone has flaws.
And then it ain't too many faults. I mean, you can't go through a history of faults, but I want y'all to stick with y'all man. That's it. Okay. Bye, y'all.
Bye, Mr. Seflie. And that was Mr. Seflie giving us his opinion about what we talk about. And we are all flawed. He is correct. Mr. Seflie is very correct.
With your man. Stick with your wife.
That's what I learned though, because if you committed to marriage and you said that these were your vows, you know, your word should be your bond. It should be, and it, like they said, you don't want to be miserable, but at the same time, you don't want to just give up, you know, as soon as you see trouble. You know what I mean? Trouble won't come for everybody. You know, everybody's going to go through struggle and trouble. You know, everybody's going to go through that in some way. It may not be financially, it may be emotionally. It may not be emotionally, it may be financial. You just have to. You do have to stick in there if you think it's worth it. If you think back to the reasons why you married that person. You know, there was a reason why you got married. There was a reason. And I do tell people, it got to be more than just about love. You know what I mean? And it got to be more than about sex. Because at some point, that may become difficult for you, you know, to maintain that. So you're going to have to be able to be with that person if that person is never able to have sex with you again. You know, is there a way for you to be able to maintain that intimacy without that? You know? But, you know, within the pandemic, if it taught us anything, is that you really do have to look at time. You know, everybody just assumes that you just got time to do everything, and you may not. So use your time. You know, your talent and your time wisely.
Yeah, because what I tell people all the time is you can, whatever you lose, you can get it back. You might not get the same thing back, but you can get it back. The only thing that you can't get back is time. The pandemic has created time. It has given you time to do something over.
Yes.
It also has helped you to look at that other person, or you know, any person that you're in a relationship with, mother, father, as value time. Like, what value are you putting in on time? Like, are you valuing your time? And one thing I discovered with myself was a lot of the time I was just doing busy work. Like, I've never been able to save up the amount of money that I have saved during the pandemic.
Me too.
And I had to ask myself, what was so different? The only difference was I was in the house. So how was it that I'm saving up all this? What's the difference? So I had to really look at where I was placing my time. And a lot of us, because we work so many jobs, we doing so many things, we have to make sure that it's time value, you know, things. Like, if you put your time in, and the return of that time that you put in, that value in, like, what is it going to bring to your family 6 months or a year later? You know, having 3 different jobs, okay, now this pandemic has given you space to say, hey, maybe I need to look for that one job that can pay me, like, or 3 of those jobs was paying me, but I'm getting paid at one time. Or maybe I need to develop this type of skill so that I can get on a different pay level.
Right. I know for me during the pandemic, I finally sat down. Now my husband has been on me about this for a while because I've been saying I want to save for this, I want to save for that. And he would give me ideas, but I'm like, okay, yeah. But I would get so caught up with work and everything else, and I just finally just sat and I was watching this girl's videos, and I was like, oh, that is a good idea to sit down and do budgets like that. And girl, do you know I sat down and I did the budget, and it was like trying to look to see where your money was going to. And I was looking, when I did my budget, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm wasting so much money on this and that. And I was like, oh, okay, so now, and it's religious now, girl, I got envelopes and everything, okay? Give me a budget, and each pay, I put so much money in each of these envelopes. And some envelopes are for saving up for stuff, and some envelopes are for like me eating out. Like once I'm done with that envelope, I'm not going out to eat nothing that I didn't cook anymore. You know what I mean?
Okay. The Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I have saved so much money because I was able to do that Dave Ramsey joint. And savings, my emergency savings, in the pandemic. I was able to do that. But I was only able to do that when I had taken the time. It's not that I never had time, I just never made time for it. I never made it a priority. So now the people at the bank, they know when I come, what I'm coming with, what I'm coming for, and they be like, oh, look at y'all with the cute little slips. And I'm like, yes. So it becomes daily, it becomes, like you said, Miss Seflie, a habit. It's a habit. So every month now, every pay now, I'm sitting down doing my book, doing my sheet for my budget. And so, now it's a habit.
I need y'all to help me with that because I don't have a budget. I've been saving money, but I just been like automatically putting my account on. No, I just do automatic, like it just sends money to the savings account every paycheck automatically, and that's it. I don't even count how much I spend because it seems like when I have an occasion, that's when I'll be spending. Like if it's an occasion coming up, I'm spending. The no occasion, I don't spend.
I got an envelope for that kind of stuff.
I don't know nothing about a budget. But one more thing that kind of this pandemic has affected marriages is sex-wise. Like some people are having more sex, some people are having less sex. Now, people
got a lot of pandemic babies, so they definitely have.
Yeah, some people are having a lot of pandemic babies, and one of my jobs, my supervisor, she's due in May, and that's what's been happening. More sex. Sometimes people have less sex, so that can affect a marriage as well in the pandemic, because it's kind of like, well, now you home now. How come I can't get it as often now? You're home. What do you mean I can't get it? So. To me, in my personal experience, this is the last thing I wanted to talk about as far as like the pandemic, is sexually, like that you got more stuff to do now. Now that you're home, you have more stuff to do in my case, because I have two small children, 5 and 7, who needs a lot of things, and I'm in school and I'm working, and so my husband is a champion in helping out with the kids. I can say that. Now, but when it comes to cleaning, no. So if I'm cleaning the house, or when I finally get to cleaning the house, because sometimes I don't get to it because I got so many things and I'm tired. Who wants to have anything? Who wants to do anything and have sex and be all over? Like, I just scrubbed this thing so hard because it ain't been cleaned in like a week. So that's the only thing. I have to let some of that stuff go because I will hold on to it a lot. So this is releasing for me too as well. Because I'm not a neat freak, because I do have clutter, but I want certain things to be clean. Like your kitchen and your bathroom should always be clean. Like your living room is where you sit down, so but kitchen and bathroom is my main things. Like that's where you eat, that's where you get clean. So that's the only thing that's been like hindering me having sex more, is just I got more than one job. I've been blessed because there's people who's lost jobs. So I've been blessed. I've had 2 new jobs in the past 7 months, or maybe 3 new jobs. I actually left one new job and went to another 2 weeks ago, and then still have my 2 part-times. So, and then school, I still have to have time to study. So a lot of times my husband you have to find somebody that's willing to ride with you through that time. He knows this have another year, and then I'll be done, and then maybe we'll get back. But sometimes you get into that routine of not doing it, of always just staying up. Like, that's my routine. The kids go to bed, he put the kids to bed, and then I'm up doing homework until late hours of the night. That's the routine. So now we have to make appointments. You have to be like, okay, is it tonight? Okay, what time? Like, that's what we have to do when it comes to sex. What are y'all doing?
Well, for me, it's our biggest challenge. It's not sex, but to answer your question, it's our schedule haven't changed.
Is it increased? Oh, okay.
I mean, with me and mine's, we like bunnies. It's every day. It's always been like that. It's maybe every day is an exaggeration, so I'll say every other day, but really in 1 week, like, it's every day, and it starts before the sun comes up.
Oh, that's right.
You know, it starts before the sun comes up, and the intimate time is, late at night before we go to sleep. But that's the first thing I get to feel in the morning is my husband.
Okay.
Oh.
So
ain't nothing changed. That's the newlyweds talking, y'all. There ain't nothing changed.
That's the requirements. I don't think I'm ever gonna get off that schedule. That's like a requirement. Matter of fact, I tried for our anniversary. I was like, let's not do anything. And then anniversary time, and it's like, what?
Oh, I know he didn't want to hear it.
Like, okay,
we don't have that problem either.
Okay, we're gonna do it at 5 a.m. I'll see you later on the night then. You just got to, but I don't have, the only challenge we have had, and this is no lie, in my whole household that's had affected everyone, because, and this is where the space come in, this is one of the things we had to acknowledge, and we are now disciplining ourselves, and it is a goal for us to get a house, because now we have an apartment that has 1 bathroom, so you have 4 adults and 1 bathroom.
Oh, God.
And 2 people with a weak bladder, and 2 people that want to take a shower although they ain't doing nothing. I'm not gonna say any names and I ain't gonna get no positions, but but 2 people that taking 2 showers a day, and then you got naturals in here, so no perming, it's straight natural, so it's hairballs everywhere. And so the number 1 thing is bathroom. So we actually had to develop a schedule for the bathroom so that everyone.
Yeah, I mean, you got 4 adults in 1 bathroom. Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that.
So each one teach one.
You don't have to that.
Each one teach one. As far as sex is concerned, has it increased, decreased, stayed the same?
Maybe it's probably stayed the same. I don't think we've had, much difference with that.
Is it harder? Is it easier because you're home? Harder because you're home?
I don't. You know what? I just go with it because we ain't got no kids yet, so.
It's so funny.
He said, I just go with it.
As long as it's not at during work hours, I mean, we good.
You just gotta remember to turn the laptop off.
Before I was like, Dad, I left a Google Meet up one time. I was like, hey, Google Meet's still on. Oh my God. I was like, oh my Lord. I said, I'm so glad we're not in this office. Oh, that was embarrassing.
The Google Meet was still on.
Embarrassing. That would have been somebody would have got on. Oh no. I been a free teacher for the rest of the year. The thing that we had to address that we did was the space.
Mm-hmm.
I think once we were able to get me like this space for the office, that really alleviated a lot of the frustration. Hey, could you keep it down? Hey, could you, I'm like,
yeah.
But other than that, I think that was the one thing that we struggled with in the beginning. Like, how we both going to work from home. When you have to take phone calls, I have to do Zoom, Google Meets,
Mm-hmm.
I gotta be in these meetings, and you're in the meeting at the same time, So I think that was probably the biggest issue. Definitely not sex and intimacy. I don't know. I think
that might be for some people. That's probably why divorce rates happen, either increase or decrease. They like, oh, well, I'm home now. How come you ain't giving it to me like it was before? Because they probably was creeping, and then all of a sudden now they got to be with that one person. That's not who they want to be with. But I just wanted to, it's time for us to go because we kind of went a little bit over. I wanted to wrap up. This topic was about, how your marriages are holding up in this pandemic. We gave y'all our opinions. These are just our opinions. That's why it's called Three Married Ladies' Opinions. Everybody doesn't go through the same thing. Whatever's good for your household is good, like T-Shawn says. So,
but not yours.
Check us out. Keep listening. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get even more guests and more interesting conversations to come with Three Married Ladies podcast. I'm Neek at Night.
Mrs. Seflie.
Each one teach one.
Peace.
Peace. Peace.
This is your girl, Neek at Night. Did you love that episode? If so, like, share, and subscribe at our YouTube channel. Type 3MLO in YouTube, click on the pink, purple, and green logo, and listen, share, and subscribe. You can also check us out at www.threemarriedladiesopinions.com. Look for us on Instagram and Facebook on our fan page. Email us some topics or a situation you might want our opinion on at our email address 3mlo.topics@gmail.com. That's 3mlo.topics@gmail.com. Last but not least, you need to go to our private group on Facebook, Three Married Ladies Opinions Podcast private group. We are live every other Sunday. The newest episode of 3MLO we show from that previous week. So next week, episode 4, we're going to have a special guest on our podcast. We have a special guest couple on our podcast. And live, we're going to have maybe one of the special guests that was in the podcast live that day. Please join us live at the podcast Facebook group and listen and ask questions. Agree, disagree, whatever. Just please be respectful. I love everyone who's listening. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings.